You guys probably expect me to sit on this thing, and I have to be honest, I'm a little afraid. Hey everybody, I found probably the coolest build I've done on my channel so far. It was very challenging. It was fun to build. I did some stuff I've never done before. Oh, and it's really high profits, but I messed it up and I built it wrong.
He's dumb.
If you ever get tired walking halfway up the stairs, or you need a spot by your front door to put on your shoes, but you ain't got room for a full bench, I have the perfect project for you. Just don't build it the way I did. Let me show you what went wrong. Let's get to building. We're gonna build most of this out of a 1x3, out of a couple 1x3s. And the first thing I'm gonna do is cut a 1x3 into 14 1-foot sections. Now first I cut off the factory ends of the boards because they're drier than one of them dog turds that's starting to turn white. Why didn't anybody tell me I'm starting to look like a silverback gorilla over here? I'm gonna have to change the name to silverback woodworking. I also set up a stop block so I can make sure I cut all these pieces the exact same size. And that's gonna help out a lot later when you want this thing to fold correctly. I have to do a voiceover here because for some reason my camera didn't record sound. And the first thing I was saying in this is my New Year's resolution is less mistakes in 2016. Then I went on to tell you how I made a mistake and I told you the wrong sizes and the wrong amount of boards. So everything you wrote down in the last clip was wrong. First I said it was 14 boards and I was wrong. You gotta have an odd number of boards for this to work. So take one of those boards off. I excluded the one with a knot in it. And then every other board has to be 1.5 inches shorter. So now I have to take out 6 boards and I have to cut these 1.5 inches shorter.
He's an idiot. The man is an idiot, ladies and gentlemen.
So you're gonna cut 7 boards at 12 inches and 6 boards at 10.5 inches. I always picture you guys starting my videos, writing down the numbers, all happy, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, I just gave you the wrong numbers. Then you got to erase them. And you're like, why am I watching this idiot? I could have been watching somebody that really knows what they're doing, like Ole Makes. Then I'm like, oh, those were wrong too. And you're like, oh, you just rage quit. You're like, I'm tired of this guy. And you go watch something bad like Dancing with the Stars. Okay, so I got all my boards cut. Now it's on to the next step. And the next step is drilling a hole through each board on the bottom. And I'm drilling the hole because I got to put this piece of all thread through all of them. So the holes have to be all lined up in the same spot to get the all thread to go through smoothly. And I don't have a drill press, so I got to figure out a way to do that without one.
He's poor but uncommon proud.
And anybody else that doesn't have a drill press, maybe you could do the same thing. So I came up with this thing. It's just 2 4x4s that are close together, and then I use this 1x material scrap on the bottom to hold them apart. And then I screw the top in place so that way I can slide this piece in there and see it holds it at a 90 to the top. Now, I should have probably cut this to fit. This is just some scrap I had because you see I have a gap here. I don't think that matters too much, but it would have been better if I brought it all the way to the top. Then on the top, I just used some more scrap wood to hold the 2 4x4s together. And then I can slide my piece in here like this. Now this back piece is gonna be like a stop block. I can adjust it in and out and then screw it in place through here. And then you can use something like this drill block right on top here. It has lines that you can line up with the center and you could clamp this down. You could use 2x4s instead of 4x4s and you can clamp this to it so it doesn't move on you. And then the stop block would hold it in place. So you can just keep putting your piece in there, drill it and move to the next one. I'm gonna use this thing so that way I can just screw it right to the 4x4s. That's why I used 4x4s instead of 2x4s because this base is wide. And then I'm gonna line it up on top, and then that you just attach your drill to it. I'm sure you guys have seen these before, and it's like a little mini drill press. And that way I can just. Now the hole placement is gonna be different on the small pieces than the big pieces. So take all your small pieces out and separate them, so that way you don't accidentally drill the holes in the wrong spot. And we know that's nothing I would ever do. So to set up your hole placement on the smaller boards, take your speed square, put it on the side of the board and line it up with the edge of the board. And then make a line. Oops. This is hard to do this stuff while I'm looking through a camera, trying to make sure I'm holding it in the right spot. So look at this, my line. Holy mackerel. All right. So make a line, then flip it, do the same thing. Make another line. And that's going to be the center of your hole right there. Now they make a pro version of this thing that has a centering thing that goes in the middle that shows you where the center's at. This one doesn't have it, but the pro one's like $100 more. I'll link them both in the description if you guys want to pick one up. I'm going to use this one when I eventually do my workbench to lay out the dog holes. So that's why I got this. So I just have to eyeball it myself. So once I got the drill bit aligned to my centering mark and I got the drill press all centered, I attached it to the 4x4s with some screws, and then I locked in the stop block with another screw. All right, let's give this thing a test drive. Looks like I bottomed out, so I got to flip it over and hopefully the two sides meet. There's some sawdust keeping me from pushing it all the way in now. So far, the hole looks good, though. I just need to come up with a better way to deal with the sawdust on this thing because it's hard to get the vacuum back to where the sawdust is accumulating. Let's see if these line up. Not bad. I noticed there was a bump in the middle of the hole, so I went to put it back in and give it another whirl when I realized that my drill bit didn't line up anymore. Okay, I figured something out while I'm using this. A little bit of something you should know. I don't know if you want to call it a flaw. I guess it's a flaw. The first hole I drilled, the battery was on this side. The drill's kind of heavy. And then after I drilled it, the drill swung around and I drilled the second one this way. So the positioning of the drill bit changes a little bit. Can you see how much it's moving? I'm going to switch to a lighter drill and see if this helps any. I'm using 1/4" all thread and I use a 1/4" drill bit, but it's a little bit tight. It doesn't give me any room for error. So I'm going to drill a little bit of a bigger hole. The next size up drill bit that I used was 17th 64ths. Most of you aren't going to have that size, but it fits like really good now. But if you don't have that, because that's a really odd size to have, the next one up you're probably going to have is 5/16. Now that's going to be really big. You could try the 5/16, but you can see there's a lot of play in there. So your parts are going to rattle around. I would invest in a nice drill bit set that has all these odd sizes. This isn't even a nice one. This I got from Harbor Freight. It has 29 drill bits in it. This thing's like $20. So if you guys don't already know, I've never built this before. So this is basically a prototype. And this is what I like to do on my videos. I like to take something I never built before and something that's a little bit challenging and come up with ways to build it. And I really love it because in the comments, you guys always leave me better ways of doing stuff, or, hey, you could have done it this way. And it's a really good way for me to perfect what I'm doing. Okay, so even with my fancy jig I made, you can see the pieces don't all line up on the bottom. This is the worst of them. And I blame this on two things. One, I was dropped a lot as a kid. Two, the drill bit, the way the drill was able to move back and forth on this thing because of the weight of the battery, that's just too much play. Okay, to lay out these longer pieces, we need to take into account first the width of the wood you're using. So this is a cutoff from the end that I could use to mark a line. Then line up the edge of your speed square with that line. Oops. Just like so. Maybe a little bit more right there. And then make a 45. Do it again on the other side. That's going to be the center of your hole. Now, if you want that as a measurement, first we marked off 3/4. That was the width of the material we were using. And then we went up half of that, half of 3/4, which is 3/8. So then another 3/8 will bring you at 1 1/8 for this hole. On the shorter boards, you just need to go up 3/8 because that's half of a quarter. Now I just need to adjust my stop block to the right size. I feel like I should make one of these jigs that's more permanent and adjustable because I think it would be really handy to have. Or I have to get me a real drill press. I'm gonna make a line on here too so I can have a reference point of where to line up the drill bit also. If I were to make one of these again, I might even attach something down here to help keep the drill bit safe. If I were to make one of these again, I would even put something on here like this to help keep the drill bit safe. I keep saying safe. Straight. So this line seems to really be helping to keep the drill bit straighter than it was before. So hopefully these all line up better, because these ones are more crucial. And while you guys are watching me do this, this would be a great time for me to to ask for you guys to subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, give me a hype if you guys know what those are. I barely know what they are myself. And leave a comment. Ask me, hey, what do you do to work out? What's your diet plan? I want a body like Jasko. Okay, so I got all the tall ones together. And look, what a difference that little pencil mark made to get these all lined up on the bottom and help me find that center. I think this first one, this was the one that I actually had my pencil mark on, was the off the most for some reason. I don't know why, but after that I followed the line pretty good. Okay, so I did another dry fit with all the boards this time, and now you really don't notice the differences in these shorter boards anymore. These longer boards are what really matter, because you're gonna have a board that does this. They're the only ones that are gonna have that, so they have to be even. I'm gonna number the back of these. That's the part with the rod hole. So that way I can make sure I put them back the same way, because I like the way they're oriented. And I'm gonna make sure I do this one like this so I can tell which way is up and down. This way I can put them back together all the same way. I know it works this way. And when I get further into the process, I don't want to take these apart and then have a hard time getting them back together. Now I'm going to sand all the boards down before I put them back together, because once that rod's in there and these are together, you're not going to be able to sand in between these boards at all. And then rounding over all the edges is really going to be crucial for this thing to be able to fold and unfold smoothly. Sometimes I get a board like this that I've already drilled and it already cut to the even sizes, and then the knot falls out. And what do I do with it at that point? So I got this bag of assorted dowels from Walmart. It has all different shapes and sizes in there. You can see some different ones on the front. And I try to find one that fits it pretty close. And surprisingly, I normally find it. Here's one right here. You can kind of force into the hole. I don't know if you can see, close that gap up. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on here and then glue it into here like this. If you're having a hard time getting it to fit, sometimes you could take a smaller dowel and put some newspaper, sandpaper in there. Not newspaper, newspaper won't work very good. And then just do this a little bit. It helps clean it out too, so it your dowel can stick better. And see that? Bam. I'm gonna use this brown colored CA glue in case there is a gap. Oh shit, I just put my finger in it. They make different colored CA glue. Sometimes I use black, sometimes I use brown. It depends on how the other knots on the wood look. This one has like a lighter brown look to the knot, so I'm gonna spray some activator on here to speed up the process. Now I'm gonna use my flush cut saw and cut it all flush with the existing wood. Here's another tip. Don't be an idiot like this guy and cut towards your hand. These saws are like razor sharp. And I've already cut myself before with it, but I just keep doing it. I just scratch myself again. See me looking? Then I'm just going to play it off like I didn't do it. Now I'm sawing away from myself like I should have done the first time. I need to get me a good woodworker's vise. Now you can also mix some CA glue and sawdust, or even wood glue and sawdust. You would just have to wait for it to dry, and it'll do just as good if you don't have a colored glue. Then just sand it down when you're done. There you go. It's not invisible, but it sure beats having a hole in your wood.
That sounds weird.
Okay, so now I got all my boards sanded back onto the all thread. And what I'm gonna start doing is placing 2 cards. I think one is too thin. These cards are really cheap and thin. These are my Las Vegas cards. You get these when you move to Las Vegas. And I'm gonna put 2 cards width on both sides. And then push it over. And then put 2 cards there. 2 cards here. And I'm going to do this all the way down. I'm going to turn them down because I don't know why I put them standing straight up when they probably sit much better like this. So now I'm going to put these clamps on here above the cards, one on each side. That was another reason I laid the cards down flat. just to keep them tight. You don't have to clamp the crap out of them. Now you're gonna measure the side opposite of the hinge side. Okay, so it looks like I have 32 1/8. Can you see that? And my build is done. It's a musical instrument. You play Viva Las Vegas, Viva Las Vegas. I'm just kidding. Sorry, that was stupid. So now I'm gonna cut a 1x3 to 32 1/8. I'm gonna make it a heavy eighth, so that way if I sand the edges, it'll still be okay. And as you know, anything I cut over like 29 inches, I gotta open the garage door up because it won't fit. You guys know, sometimes when you're making one cut, you don't put on your PPE, and that's just stupid. I do it all the time. I need to stop being lazy, especially since I had to get it anyways to sand this board. I think I'm just worried because it makes my head look like a ham in a dust mask. I forgot to cut the factory edge off of this. I already sanded it, cut it to length, and I never took off the factory edge. I'm not cutting a new one. I'm gonna try to make this one work. I don't know, maybe I'll cut a new one if I can't make it work. All right, so the board's a little shorter now. I just skinned it off with the miter saw. I'm just gonna split the difference, so I'm a little under on both sides, and then I can sand that to match. I'm gonna do a round over anyway, so you're really not gonna notice it that much.
You have failed me for the last time.
Remember to cut those factory edges off, especially if they stamp it and put wax on it like these guys do. Okay, so now we're gonna mark the center of all our longer boards so we can screw this rail onto there. The center of my 1x3 is roughly 1.25 inches. And I say roughly because these dimensions on this construction lumber are not exact. So see when I flip it this way, it's not exactly 1.25 inches. Nobody's gonna notice that. So you're gonna mark it at 1.25 inches from the left-hand side. Don't mark it too dark, just enough so you can see it, you know? Just a little mark. And then do that for each 1x3 all the way down. Now we're gonna put that front rail we made, put it up against there, get it where you want it, where it's gonna go. And then you can clamp it if you want, somehow, clamp it lightly so it doesn't move on you. Because we're gonna transfer all those marks you just made to the front. So I'm gonna clamp it right here where I'm not touching and just enough so it doesn't move. You don't have to get crazy with it. Now you're gonna take your speed square and use it to transfer all those marks to the front. Because that's where we're gonna drill the holes for our screws to hold this board on. Okay, so now wherever those marks are on my edge, I'm gonna mark the center of the board. The center of a 3/4 inch board is 3/8. So I got a little 3/8 mark on my little wen edge marker here. I just put my pencil in there. Boom. X marks the spot. I got this countersink bit kit off of Amazon. I thought I was gonna use it for this video because it makes plugs too. It's supposed to do your countersink and make plugs. Watch how these bits are. This is great if you want to start a fire in the woods. Watch, I'm only drilling into pine. Look at that. About to burn down my garage with these things. 1 star, Amazon, 1 star. This bit did the same exact thing. I thought maybe it was because it was having a problem cutting with this part, but no, just the regular straight bit. Don't buy anything from this brand, Ezark. It's from Amazon. I have a 3/8 inch brad tip bit with a stop collar. The stop collar's a little less than 1 inch, so I can cut my plugs at 1 inch and they'll be perfect. And I'm using this ruler to help me guide it in straight. So if I go up too high, I can see exactly which way I am. And I'm gonna drill. Oop, didn't count on that. Now I'm gonna find where that brad tip bit center is, right there. And now I'm using a 1/8 inch bit and I'm gonna drill this the rest of the way out. Okay, before I go any further, I wanna glue this on here. I was gonna wait till I was done drilling it all, but I think I wanna do it now. I'm gonna just glue it up and so it's done. That way I can drill it and screw it at the same time and it's done. I'll keep it clamped. Oh, I want to put a piece of parchment under it too, so when I slide it back into place, it doesn't stick to my workbench. I like doing things backwards for some reason. It's like I get joy out of it. All right, that's perfect right there. Now let's put some glue on these things. I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on each end. I learned this trick from putting mustard on my hot dogs while laying in bed. Now I'm just gonna put this front back on here and try to line it up just like I had it. Then I clamped it to my workbench so it wouldn't slide around on me while I was drilling the rest of the holes. So I'm just lining up the ruler with the edge of the board and then using it to help keep this straight. Even up and down, if I look to the side a little bit, I can see if it's straight or not. Then the 1/8 inch bit is a little bit easier because I just kind of have to keep it centered in this hole. So the ruler helps a little bit, but most of it is just keeping it centered in the hole. Bam! Okay, so I should be able to pull all the clamps off now and check it out. Now I put the cards in here so that way, you know, it's pine. It's gonna warp, it's gonna twist, it's gonna move, and I don't want it to bind up later on. So I'm hoping the cards will kind of give me enough play between the spaces to keep everything. You know what, I probably have to put them back in when I screw the back on. But I'm excited to see how this looks. See that? I'm loving it. Now I have to attach another board to all the shorter pieces to keep the bench locked into a 90-degree position. So when the bench opens, it can't open past a 90-degree position. Who wants to see a magic trick? Alakaham sandwich. Butter. So now I need 3 more 1x3s at that 32 1/8 number that we cut earlier. As you can see by the lack of sunlight in the background, I'm working on this project after hours.
It's too late for all that racket. You should be working out.
Sorry, Miss Jones.
Come over here and rub my bunions for me, baby.
No, thank you. I'm not rubbing any bunions.
You're missing out. I got some pie.
Then since I sanded all my other pieces down, I had to sand these down too. Okay, so now I'm putting all the boards back, or not the boards, the cards back in because I have to attach the back boards and I need to have the spacing for that too. So putting them all back in again. Okay, so now I'm gonna take one of those 32 1/8 inch boards and I'm gonna put it just about a 1/2 inch from the top of these boards. And then from the top, that's about 3 3/4. I'm using these 1 1/4 drywall screws. You're gonna wanna countersink all these screws because this side's gonna be against the wall. And then you only wanna attach these to the small boards. So I need to flip it around this way. You see? But now I need to put the lower board on. I want it to be clamped up when I do it because I want it to hold it at a 90. I'm just gonna check it with my speed square to make sure it's at 90 degrees. And it looks pretty good. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna attach it. I'm gonna countersink the screws. I'm just eyeballing center of this board and this board. Nobody's gonna see this. Nobody's gonna see this. It's gonna be against the wall, but I don't know, I'm just weird like that. I got these long 3/8 inch dowel rods from Walmart, and I'm gonna cut some plugs out of them to fill my screw holes in the front of the bench. They're supposed to be the same size. They're both 3/8 inch. And you can henceforth the orange on the ends of them. But let me show you something. Now this dowel I cut from a different stock. It fits in there really nice and snug. See that nice gap around there? Now this one, see, orange, supposed to be 3/8. Can you see how loose that one is? So they're not all the same. You got to be leery of that. Leery, I don't know, wary. How do you say it? You got to be aware of that. So these aren't doing anything structural. So I just put a little bit of glue in there. Push it in. Oh, I did it again. I'm trying to keep the grain I mean to keep the grain even with the grain on here. But this one I didn't do that. I put it in without matching up the grain and I messed up. Then just come back after they dry and cut them flush up with your flush cut saw. Then just clean it up with your sander. Okay, remember I said I was lining up the wood grain of the dowel? Well, apparently that was the saw grain because this is the only one I got the wood grain lined up. All the rest of them, that one I guess you could say I got that one too. But all the rest of them are all at different angles. But other than that, I think they came out pretty good. So now for the all thread, I'm gonna tap it in. Then I'm gonna countersink it about a 1/2 inch. Then I'm gonna cut it flush on the other side. And then tap it back in about a 1/4 inch. That way it's recessed a 1/4 inch on both sides. Then you can plug it just like we did the front screw holes. Before I finish this up, I wanted to show you guys this. You could stop here if you wanted and not anything else to this. And what it would be is you hang this to the wall like this with these boards. And then this part folds down. So it would be like a folding shelf. And then see, it supports itself. So, and you're probably wondering, what am I gonna do with a shelf that folds up? Like you got a shelf, you put stuff on it, you don't keep folding it up. Well, mon frere, sometimes people will put in their laundry rooms, they'll have a folding shelf because you might not have a big laundry room. Like I don't have a really big laundry room. I don't have nowhere to fold clothes. So this would be cool to have in your laundry room. You pull it down, fold your clothes on it. It even has slats big enough to where you can hang stuff through it if you wanted to dry. And then when you're done with it, you just fold it back up. So the last 2 boards you're gonna have to cut for this is 2 1x3s at 23 inches. All right, I need you guys' help with this next part. You guys are always great helping me in the comments to perfect these prototypes that I make. This one I need your help with. This is going to be a leg, right? And it's got a hinge right here. So originally I was thinking to put a piece of all thread into both sides, drill a hole into each side, put the all thread in here. There's a leg brace that are gonna hold them from pulling away from the bench. But I don't feel like that's gonna be a long-term joint. I feel like it's gonna wear down after a while and because of the all thread, and then it's gonna get loose and then it's gonna fall apart. And I don't know if this is strong enough. I wish I would have built this thing out of 2x2 material because I would have had a lot more meat to play with. I don't have much meat to play with.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
So that's the only thing I can come up with. Let me know in the comments of any kind of a system you guys can think of that I could put a hinge in here and it can pivot on like this. I'm gonna do this all thread thing right now, but I don't think it's a good solution for this. I don't think it's gonna be strong enough. 2x2 would have been much better. Let me know. I'm gonna do the same thing on this board that I did to all the slats for the bench. Not drop them. And I'm gonna drill the hole right here. And then I'm gonna drill it out with my redneck drill press. So now I'm drilling a hole into the front rail of the bench and I'm using the ruler trick again. I'm trying to go in about 3 inches so I get as much wood around the all thread as I can. And as you can see, I'm drilling these right where the plug is for the screw that's holding the rail to the bench is, but it's recessed 1 inch, so I should have plenty of clearance. All right, I got my legs done, my cross brace done. My wife's calling me. Okay, I got my legs done and drilled. My all thread dowel's ready, and then this is the cross brace at the bottom. This is that last, what is it, 32 1/8 that we cut. So these are my 3 pieces. These are just blocks to hold them up. And then this is a block to hold the front up to because the back of it's elevated. So I'm gonna put this on here. Sorry, I put the camera stand right where I need to work. I'm gonna have to slide it over a little. Okay. So that leg is on. This leg is on, and then this is the cross brace. So I'm just giving myself enough space to where I have like a nice even reveal. I don't want to close it up all the way. Then I'm going to clamp it with this while I add the screws. Oh no. This might be my longest clamp. Might have to figure something out how to do this. That's my next longest, well, same size it looks like. I had to go get the pipe clamp for this one. Now I gotta clear more space. I can't turn the handle on this side, I gotta flip it. Is this just moving? What the heck is going on? I feel like this is the Three Stooges construction episode. You remember that one?
Now get busy. Oh!
Then I just attached the bottom brace the same way I did the front rail. I countersunk the screw about 1 inch in. It's a little tight on this corner here, so I'm gonna sand it a little. Then I went over the whole thing just to get any like scratches or scuff marks that might have been, or even glue that might have been left behind. And then I didn't stain this. I just finished it off with a paste wax. I felt like that was the most appropriate finish for this because of the pieces potentially rubbing together. The paste wax would help them glide better, where if you put some stain, it might rub off and then you'd be able to see the regular raw wood underneath. You guys let me know in the comments what finish you think would have been better for this. So I hung this bench about 18 inches off the ground because that's about the height of a normal seat. And I used my clamps as a jack to help me level the bench. If anybody doesn't know, sometimes your clamps can be reversed and then you can use it to actually jack stuff up instead of pull stuff together. You can use it to push stuff apart. Then I just made sure to countersink the screws and get them into the studs behind this. Bam! There you guys go. What do you guys think? You guys probably expect me to sit on this thing, and I have to be honest, I'm a little afraid. Now I really wish I would have made it out of 2x2s. 1x3 in this direction, horizontal, not a good decision. This would be great for kids. Let me show you how easy it unfolds. And then you just tuck this back. You can make it to where they sit like this. I've seen people do that. I kind of like it better like this. I feel like you don't have to worry about somebody kicking that out on you or it slipping out. But really, it's up to you. I like it better like that. Pine turned this way was just stupid, let's be honest. Okay, so if you put in wall-mounted folded bench seat into Etsy, you can see here's a bunch that come up from a bunch of different sellers. Anywhere from 120, 189, 108, 101. This one you can see, that's what I'm talking about, a 2x2, and they didn't even do a lower support on either one of these. Here's a couple different styles down here. This one's gone for 149, 139. Here's a different one. This one's completely different. And this one's gone for 169. I wanted to show you this guy in particular. This guy is selling these from Turkey. And he's already sold 1.9K in sales. And he's only been on Etsy for a year and a half. There's a lot of people that are saying, they say it in the comments, and then there's some other faceless YouTubers that want to say that you can't make money off of woodworking like this, that this is all made up. And this guy is living proof right here. He's in Turkey, and you see he's giving free shipping, and he's selling all this stuff. Look at the simple stuff he's making, and he's selling it for $120. And there's just a ton more people on Etsy doing the same thing. But for some reason, people think that nobody's making money off of woodworking. This is all made up. Here's this guy selling a table he made, $320. This is a bestseller right here. That means he sold a lot of these. It sells pretty good. This is just a table that is up against the wall. You see how he made that with some hinges? This is all I do is go through Etsy. I look for other people that are making stuff. Here's this guy selling a fold down table with a fold down bench for $2,000. I just show you guys this stuff to give you ideas. This is how I do it. I come on Etsy and I get ideas. I look for other people that are selling stuff and I see how could I make it better. I've told you guys this before. I've never said anybody's going to get rich off of this, but you might make some tool money. I'm not saying nobody has ever gotten rich from making stuff on Etsy, but it's not very likely. But you could make some tool money. So you guys do what you want to do with that information.
You don't know the power of the dark side.